morning and welcome to JavaTalk. I'm Dawson, and today we have a very special guest, Reverend Dennis Thum. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Now, I wanted to start off right away with a question about your beginnings here, because I know you did have a career before you decided to come here to USF. A lot of students tend to focus on particular things about USF that make it different. Alumni and even students in like my grade often say that the sense of community is what makes this campus so much different. When you first got here, what would you say is your big thing that made USF just so different from other college campuses?
That's a great question. Part of my answer to that has to be the fact that back then, in ancient history, 33 years ago, when I interviewed for this job, in fact, it was 33 years ago next week that I interviewed. It was we had half as many students living on campus. So we only had about 250 students on campus. So it was a very, very small community. But from the beginning, Sioux Falls College, as it was known then, always was the place that was a friendly environment and unpretentious. A lot of people working their way through school, so it wasn't considered a rich kid school. And prior to the national championship in 1996, we were not known for our athletics. Do the best we can in an NAIA level and hope for the best, but the school became prominent in 1996 because of winning a national championship in football, so suddenly South Dakota noticed Sioux Falls College. So yeah, it's always been that sense of community. This has been a kind and friendly and respectful place that I've always loved.
Do you think that expansion of that community had any other changes that you might have noticed, like a huge expansion of people suddenly coming in, maybe like, because for some communities, a huge group of people coming in can like drastically alter how a lot of people like live, how a lot of people like move around campus. Do you think there were any like major changes there?
Oh, definitely. For example, one of the changes that came about was with greater mobility, people coming from further away. You've always had people coming from other parts of the country, but now there's just more people from different cultural backgrounds. You hear different languages spoken on campus. As a teacher in Intro to Bible, we now have students that regularly come from non-Christian backgrounds. So, there's just more diversity here, and yet still the idea of respect and kindness to one another. Yeah.
Good. Now, I kind of mentioned this before with your past career, but you've had a long relationship with South Dakota Penitentiary.
Yes.
Do you think that experience there transferred over a lot of skills, a lot of abilities into teaching?
So I was a chaplain at the penitentiary for 4 years before coming here. I loved what I was doing and wasn't interested in looking for a career change. One of the reasons I took this job is one of the inmates said, "You're crazy if you don't take it." So I took my direction from a guy doing a life sentence and came here. And one of the things I think that when anybody's looking for a sense of calling in life, their vocation, a lot of times it isn't the way you think it's going to be, but everything transfers. You go to your next job and your next job. One thing I learned both as a Navy chaplain and then as a penitentiary chaplain is that you got to learn how to pick your fights. You got to learn how to pick your disagreements, I should say, not fights. You got to know what's worth going to bat for, and a sense of working with an institution. A lot of people in ministry, when they work at a church, the church is the pastor is kind of the center of attention. Institutional ministry, whether it's a hospital or a prison or the military or a college campus, I'm just part of the team here, and it's a glorious team. I love it. But much of what I do has to correspond with what's going on this week with the theater department, what's going on this week with athletics. And so you have to be a team player to be in this kind of work.
Kind of going off of experience again, how different do you think you've changed over the years at USF? Do you think your faith has gotten deeper? Do you think it's changed from when you were back then? How would you say that's changed?
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, you can't wrestle with teaching and not have it change you. The questions that I was asking students 33 years ago are different, and the questions they're asking me have changed me, because you start to see things from a different perspective. Again, faith is a journey, and I think we start our faith journey very much thinking we got everything figured out, and then life throws things at you, like the old football metaphor. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And then you have to learn to adjust. So yeah, very much life is always in process, and you never quit going through those stages of development. We used to think, oh, you're a kid, you're a young adult, you're an old, but no, there's different stages of life. And so the questions that you ask when I'm 70 years old, while they're very similar to what I asked when I was 20 years old, they're also very different.
Right. Kind of changing to a more lighthearted tune. Sorry for barraging you with so many of those type of questions. Yeah. You've been here for a while, so what would you say is your funniest story here that you've had at USF? What moment were you just like, oh my gosh, I got to tell this to other people in the future?
Oh man, now that one, in 10 minutes I'll come up with a different answer to this question. So, but the thing I think of is some of the crazy things that would happen in the residence halls, and having to deal with students that they behave really well in the classroom, and they're loved and respected by their professors, and then you find out that ain't the way it is back in the residence hall. And so learning to laugh, sometimes cry over some of these situations where you can fool some of the people some of the time. And when it comes to have faculty, you can fool them all the time, because they only see you for a few hours a week. Right. But your roommate sees you. The old saying, reputation is what people think of you, and character is what God, the angels, and your roommate know about you. And so, yeah, seeing some of that, sometimes it's laughable, sometimes it breaks your heart.
Oh, I can only imagine. Man, did you just have that moment? Was there one student in particular where you had just that moment where it was just like, oh, you've got to be kidding me?
Oh man, there's many moments. I'm campus pastor. You're paid to be nice, right? So part of my job is being nice. And I remember this one student drove me crazy. And this was interesting, going back to 1990s. We had this football player that was just really, really rough around the edges and hard to miss because it's loud and overbearing. And the beautiful thing, though, was to watch God transform that student. And then years later at a reunion, he played on the national championship team. And years later, coming back and came back for a reunion, and he talked about how USF had changed him. And it was such a meaningful thing because he said, this is a place of second chances. And seeing how God changed his life, and those kind of things you never forget. Yeah, so sometimes you find yourself thinking you've got somebody pegged, for good or bad, and then amazing transformations can take place, or sometimes the flaws in character emerge. And if people don't deal with their stuff, 5, 10, 20 years later, you get something pretty pathetic that emerges.
It gets them, yeah. It's almost like poetry, you going from the penitentiary to here, and you still have those kind of experiences, really. You have people that are maybe struggling to find themselves or coming from a bad background, and to see them come back with a second chance, that's just it almost rhymes. So. Oh yeah,
you're right. Because you think about when I came here, what struck me was I was dealing with people with a lifetime of regrets. Even if they were only 20 years old, a lot of them started messing up when they were 12 already or younger. Came from a place with a lifetime of regrets to come to a place with people have a lifetime of possibilities in front of them. And starting to see how people that have hope, how that can guide them. But at the same time, going back to the penitentiary and having some of them parole out and come here as students,
Right.
and start over with life and realize that God is the one who can help us write the last chapters. And there's always another part of the story to be told. And we're not defined by our past, but we're formed by it. And we have to decide how we're going to transcend that and move into the future. And there's always one new thing to look at. So that's May 31st when I move out of my office. There's a new era in my life that I'll have to try to co-author with God.
Right. Wow. Kind of sticking with that students topic, what would you say to a new student coming here, especially with your amount of experience being here at USF? What would you say to a new student that may be a little nervous, might be scared, especially coming from a long ways away? Like I know we have students here from like Wisconsin, Montana, Illinois, far away places that they might just be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, should I go out? Should I be social? Should I just keep to myself? What would you say to those students?
Choose your friends carefully. Even at a Christian school, you have some people that bring out the best in you and some that don't. Have the courage to be able to break away and be alone. And engage in new things. Try, what I like about USF is you can be a non-theater major and still be part of a theater production. And maybe you're just pulling curtains or setting up, making the sets, but you get a chance to do something. It's very easy to just pull into one little clique and stay there. And I think one of the most important things a student can do is to have a mentor, develop a variety of friends, learn to engage in a greater community. And then, of course, here we're always trying to introduce people to their relationship with God. And so what does Jesus Christ mean to you? And so we're trying to take people into a deeper sense of their faith walk, too.
Nice. Now, the last thing I'll go into, since you did mention that it's getting very close to the end of your time here at USF. I know a lot of people like to leave a few parting words or a legacy here whenever they leave a certain job. What would you say you hope for the most with the future of the theology department? Is it? Do you think it's hopeful? Do you think it's been left in a really good spot?
Oh yeah, I have 4 people that I deeply admire, the 4 PhDs that work in our theology department. Dr. Higgle, head of the department, is retiring too. I know that our prayer is that the school will adapt to a new era and find the people that can do better than us. I think there are all kinds of wonderful, talented people that can take my job and take it to the next level.
Right.
I think the most important thing for USF is to continue to be the kind of community that's a community of grace. That gives people a chance, inspires faith, forms them to be thinkers, and that I know for speaking for those of us that are retiring, there's 3 of us faculty that are retiring this year. I know we want this place to take on that in a changing world. Be able to adjust to the changes that are coming down the road. The world is rapidly changing. Higher ed is rapidly changing, and the future belongs to the flexible. And when we commit our ways to the Lord, and then have the courage to let God guide us, that's always that's the hard part. Let's see what God does.
Well, I know I speak for all of USF when I say thank you for all that you've done for us. I know for a fact there are probably plenty of people who are going to watch this. Sad to see you go, but thankful for all that you've done here. And I know that me personally, I've seen you speak plenty of times, and it's been very life-changing for me. So a personal thank you from me, and I hope that whatever you go into in the future is successful. But especially, thank you so much for being here, Dennis. This has been Dawson DeVito with JavaTalk, signing off. Thank you.